Hi, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, I thought we'd try a late at night. It's late at night for me anyway. A late at night drawing stream. Um, so yeah, that's the plan. We'll try it a little bit later on to see if we can appeal to a more global audience. Because I know some of you are all either just waking up or about to go to bed, or in the middle of your day as well. So rather than just doing it always at the same time, I thought we'd mix it up a little bit. So yeah, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you're doing well. I'm also broadcasting in a slightly different way as well, which I've never done before. So I'm not really sure if this is going to work, but we'll give it a go and see what happens. But yeah, let's do it, shall we? Here we go. Are we in? Yeah, we're in. Just turn myself down. Yeah, it all looks like it's working. So two things we're going to do today. One is we'll do a little step-by-step drawing tutorial, so feel free to follow along with that. It will probably take us about 15 minutes or so, maybe just 10 minutes. We'll do it in 10 minutes. It'll be a nice quick one for you. And all you'll need for that is a Sharpie and a piece of paper. So I'm all about keeping drawing really accessible. So you don't need lots of expensive pens in order to take part. So we'll do that first. And then for the second half of the session, you will need all your expensive pens, because that's where we'll bust out the Posca pens, and we're going to draw. We're going to draw a bird. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to draw a bird. Here are some colours. If you want to pick out some colours that you want to use, I'm going for some like reds, yellows, those kind of things. Most of my character is going to be in like a few different shades of red, and then we're going to try a couple of different shades of yellow as well. So yeah, they're the colours that I'm going to use later. But let's should we get on with it and do a bit of drawing? Let's go. So right, start off with, we're just going to do something really simple, just to get us all set and going. Can I zoom out on this a little bit? Yes, I can. There we go. I want to be able to see everything. There we go. So that's an A4 sheet of paper, and you'll need a Sharpie or something similar. I've not even got a Sharpie ready. Hang on. Let me just. Would you believe it? In all this thousands of pens that I live amongst, it's only one Sharpie. Okay, let's do it then, shall we? So with your Sharpie. Just you're only going to need one. Let's go and put in these shapes. First thing we're going to do, we're going to draw a character called Skullbot. It's nice and easy, really simple. It's a skull with a robot head, but I'll show you a nice simple way of putting a cap on the character as well. So let's start off with this skull shape. So the skull, the way I draw skulls is just a triple bounce down the bottom here. That pen's running out too much. Where's my bin? Let's upgrade to another pen. Start off with 3 little bounces like that. That's your 3 set of teeth. And then what we'll do is we go from there to there, the long way round. That pen is also not working. It's a great start, isn't it? Yeah, triple bounce, little line all the way around. And then one thing I'll do, so that's really the skull. One thing I always do is I double line everything I draw. So double lining is about making your lines twice as wonky, not twice as thick. So you're just going to go over all your lines again. I think wonky lines are much easier to draw, and I think they look a lot better as well. So let's do that. You see how we've got a little bit of line weight coming through as well. That's what we're after, just there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go and put in, let's put in a couple of, now let's put in the cap first, because this cap is one of the more important bits to try and get right. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to start here. We're going to do like this part of the cap first, this side part, just there. And then it's going to, the peak of the cap is going to cross over this line, and then we're going to go all the way around the other side of the cap with a little hook over there. Okay, so watch this. We're going to come down here, go across, and just hook in there. That'll do. That's not too bad as lines go. Then what we'll do is we're going to just come back on that, double line it. And that's pretty much it for the peak of the cap. What we'll do next is we're going to put in the dome of the cap. We're going to go from here right to that point just there. So from there, look, all the way across to that point. Again, double line there, but we'll also put a little bit on the back of the cap. Watch this, just take a little bit further back. Just there, and a button on the top. How easy was that, just to draw in a little cap? Let's go and throw in a couple of eyes next. So with the eyes, what we're going to do with them is just a couple of circles. So let's go and put in a circle there. I've gone really small with the eyes. Maybe go a little bit bigger than that. Double circle, and then what we'll do is we'll make them look like they're holes in the eyes. So let's go and put a little line across there, then colour this bit in. Little line across there, colour that bit in. Hi Joff. Hope you're doing well, mate. Okay, there's our score. What we're going to do as well with this is we're just going to put all the primary kind of important black lines in, and then right at the end of it, we'll just have we'll whip through and we'll put loads of other more fun lines in. So just getting the important stuff in there at the moment. Right, one other bit just in there, upside down heart for a nose. If you can't draw an upside down heart, then turn your page upside down and draw just a regular heart. Same kind of thing. This lesson as well, this 10-minute drawing is also going to show you a little bit about perspective. So it's not just mucking around with a Sharpie pen. It is a little bit of perspective in there as well. So let's go in with the body of this character. Now the body is nice and simple. It's a robot, so we're just going to come down, across and up. And again, double line it, down, across and up. Let's put a little bit of a belly shape in there as well. Look, there's the belly, up, across, down. That's our body. That's all we're going to do for the body. Then we're going to put some arms and some legs in. The only thing with these arms and legs is what we really want to do is we want to add some like little kind of connectors, something that connects the body to the arms and the legs. So these little connectors, they're just going to look like maybe little sausage shapes just sort of hanging off the side here. So let's put one either side, because that's where we're going to put the arms coming out from. Let's put one just there, and let's put one just there for the legs. Actually, you could just leave it like that. I've just clocked it in my overhead camera view, and it just looked really cool on its own, just like that. So you could just leave it like that if you wanted to. I kind of like that, but no, we're going to carry on with it and put in a little bit more. So what we're going to do next is let's go and put in some arms and legs. Now, these arms and legs, imagine like a snooker ball and a sock. That's the kind of shape we're going for. So it's going to be kind of thin as it joins the body, but fatter and rounder as it gets to the end. So there's no detail in these hands and arms and feet and toes or anything like that. It's just nice, like sausage shape coming out there. One thing we are going to do is we're going to do one big arm, one small arm, one big leg, one small leg. Okay, and then we're going to put some lines on there, and I'll show you how those lines can add a bit of perspective. So let's start off with over on this side. Let's start off with a big arm. So start from there. It's going to come out back in again. See what I mean? It's a snooker ball and a sock kind of look. Let's double line that. We've got that in. We've got our big arm in. Let's go and put a small leg in. So each limb is going to be pretty much the same shape. Small leg. Something like that. we'll do. Just see how both the arm and the leg are just kind of hooking inwards towards the centre a little bit. That's perfect. That's what we want. Who's that? Hi, Colleen. Thank you very much for joining, mate. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, just in case anybody missed it right at the start, because I did kind of steam straight into what I was going to do. We're going to spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're going to spend about 15 minutes drawing Skullbot here, and then we'll spend about 45 minutes drawing a bird with loads of red pens in Posca. But yeah, let's carry on with Skullbot, and then we'll get on with that bird in a second. So now we're going to do our big leg. Don't forget, every time you draw a line, you want to double line it. You want to go over it twice, make it wonky. It just looks, it's a lot easier to draw wonky lines. Looks a lot better as well. Yeah, thanks, Colleen. I know who you are. Joff, I think you put a post out tagging a few of the community members. Who didn't tag RGN Chick. RGN is Colleen. Just using your like regular name, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. Right, one more small arm. Oh my god. Sometimes when I'm drawing the wonky lines, I do go probably a little bit too wonky, but it'll be fine. Hey Trey, thank you for joining, mate. We're just going to spend a couple more minutes finishing off Skullbot here, and then we're going to start the main drawing, which is going to be a Posca piece of a bird. What else have we got in here? Right, let's. Okay, last important bit on Skullbot is how to add perspective, right? So this is what we're going to do. When it comes to, if you want to make something look like it's reaching forward, then you want to do the curves around the legs and the arms in a certain direction. If you want to make it look like they're going backwards, you want to do them in a different direction. So look at this. Like this arm, I want this arm to look like it's reaching forward, like Skullbot is striding forward. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll halfway up, just do a curve like this, halfway up. And there's a reason why we're starting at the halfway point, which will become a lot clearer when we do the small leg. Okay, so halfway up, we'll split that arm into two halves, top half and a bottom half. Let's do that curve again, but let's split this top half into two halves, and let's split this bottom half into two halves as well. So you've got four halves now. But you can see how that curve already is starting to make it look like the character's reaching forward, yeah? I don't know how do I go about visualizing the character from nothing to creating something like this. So Skullbot's like a recurring character that I've done loads of times. Best advice I ever got was keep on drawing the same thing loads of times. And so this one kind of gets easier and easier as I draw it, and it's a nice, quick, and easy one. You know, anybody can take part in this. Anybody who can't even draw can draw this kind of stuff, I think. But yeah, I think it's practice as well. So because since starting the Korp Academy, I started it 5 years ago now. Since starting that, I've learned to draw so many different things in different ways that it's like everything's just kind of stored up here. It's like a little bit of a bank. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take those eyes from that character. I'm going to take that mouth from that character. I'm going to mash it all up together, and hopefully it will turn out okay. So that's pretty much it. There's nothing technical behind it. Right, let's finish off this arm. Right, see, we've got these. We split it into four. Let's go into each of those sections now and do another curve. One just there. And so you can see that arm now looks like it's reaching forward. Okay, now we're going to do exactly the same process. We're going to do it on the small leg. This time we're going to do the curves the opposite way around, so they're going to be more like a U shape. But we are going to start in the middle again. The reason we start in the middle is because it just makes it easier to place. Look how evenly placed all of these sections are. If we start in the middle here, look, just makes it a lot more easier to evenly place the same amount of lines in a much smaller leg. Now remember, we're curving the other way this time. And hopefully you can see already that curling it the other way just makes it look like that leg is kind of flowing backwards. Let's go and put some in the center there. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think it works. Okay, let's give it 30 seconds and we're going to blitz through the rest of this. We're going to do the rest of the stripes on here. We're going to put a little box around the back just to kind of center it off. That's another little trickler. See how my character is kind of like all the way over this side? A little bit too much. I'm going to put a little frame, a little box behind it that's going to bring the whole artwork into the center a little bit more. So yeah, let's go and get on with finishing this off because I'm really keen to show you the, well, to try and draw the other character that we're going to draw today. So there you go. We'll split it into 4 bits, then split it into 8 sections. Normally I would double line these bits, but we're in a bit of a rush here, so I'm not going to bother. Curve it the other way around to make it look like the arms going backwards. Yeah, looks like he's striding forward, yeah? That's what we're going for. Right, now the other thing I wanted to show you was if ever you're drawing something, thank you, Joff. Thank you, Joff. I do really like this character and the way the perspective just pops out really nicely on it. Right, one of the tip before we just kind of really nail this picture is, like I said, my artwork's a bit too far over that side, so I'm just going to frame it, bring it over that way a little bit. And the way I would do that is I'd probably put a little box or something. Look. So imagine, you might even want to pencil this out first. See what I mean? So you're just putting that box in there, sticking that out a little bit. Let's double line that, of course. And what that's doing there is hopefully just bringing that artwork over into this side a little bit more so it doesn't look as lopsided as it used to. Let's go and whack in some spots. See if I can pick up Trey's question. This is why I like working with Joff, because what Joff normally does in the background is he can kind of pick up any questions and things that I might miss. He'll just whisper them in my ear. But I've got to stop and read. Well, what's Trey saying? Trey's last question. I don't mean to interrupt. Interruptions are fine, mate. I don't mind. Any advice on being worried to start with Maker? Start with Maker and pencil, marker and pencil. I'd start. Head over to. I got a YouTube channel. Go to the 15-minute Doodle challenge. It's designed for you just to use a marker pen, just to go straight in with a marker pen. Everyone's worried about going in with a marker pen. Even I used to worry about it because, you know, if you make a mistake, then you feel like everything's rubbish and ruined. But the reality is you might make a few mistakes along the way, but you'll get better much faster if you go straight in with a marker pen. You know, like if you're using a digital tablet and you're on Procreate or Fresco or something like that, you end up kind of doing your bit of drawing, you don't like it, you undo it. And so you're taking a step backwards. Then you do a little bit more, you don't like it, you undo it. You're taking more step backwards. And you're just taking so many steps backwards that you're not actually just kind of ploughing on and getting the artwork finished. And I think the same is with pencil, because, you know, you just bust out a rubber and you just start rubbing out those pencil lines. With a marker, whatever mark you put down, you have to work with it. So you've got no choice but to just get on with it and make it work. So if you've put a mark, you know, if you put a line in the wrong place with a marker pen, just get on with it. Just try and fix it. Figure out how you're going to fix it. And that for me is the only way you can like go up a gear in creativity. It's only when things go wrong that your brain will just go up into 6th gear and start coming up with some solutions for how to fix that particular issue. But, you know, this is just me. I'm a big fan of going straight in with a marker pen. But, you know, I always encourage people just do what they want. I did a few little videos where I just said pencils are for losers. And, yeah, it didn't go down too well with everybody. And then somebody reminded me that you can't please everyone on the internet. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Here we go. So I'm just kind of having a bit of fun now with the character, just putting in some little shadow lines, putting some bolts in. But there you go. That was nice. Honestly, it took me 20 minutes, but we'll blame Trey for interrupting me so much. Mark over pencil, afraid to mess up. Mark over pencil, afraid to mess up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. Yeah, you just got to do it, and not be fearful of messing up. And most of being an artist is having the confidence to know how to fix things when you do mess up. It's not being an artist isn't about not messing up, is it? It's about knowing how to cover up those mistakes. It's like with this, there's plenty of mistakes in here, but you just go with the flow and you fix those little mistakes on the fly. There you go, and that's why I like using Posca pens, and we'll come to Posca pens in a second. Love using them because if you do make a mistake, they're much easier to kind of fix anything. But yeah, and the other thing about your marker over pencil, I rarely use pencil. I just go straight in. As you're going to see with this next drawing, I love to go straight in with a marker pen. I love to take a few risks. I like a little bit of jeopardy with your artwork. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, mate. I'm not sure if it does. This is Skullbot though. That's Skullbot, a nice recurring character, really easy to draw. Nice little trick for how to draw the hat. A little bit of perspective in the legs. You could then go in. What I'd normally do is go in with a much thinner pen, add loads of details, or just give it to the kids or the grandkids or the nephews and nieces or parents, whoever. And yeah, you've just made them a little colouring in sheet. Make a few photocopies and it's done. There you go. So that's Skullbot. Let's go and we're going to get on with some proper artwork now. Proper artwork. So obviously to do this proper artwork, I'm going to use a salvaged bit of cardboard. Love working on cardboard. Cheers, Trey. I'm glad my waffling does make sense, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, I find myself like, because I record 5 drawing tutorials per week in the Korp Academy, and then I kind of come on lives and sessions like this, and maybe even do some face-to-face sessions as well. And so I do find myself repeating myself quite a lot. I never know what I've said and what I've not said, but yeah, glad it all makes sense. Right, salvaged cardboard. Nice big square bit of salvaged cardboard. Love working on cardboard, for one, because the Posca pens on top of the cardboard just really make everything pop out. Like so. Look at that. You see how all the colours just pop out really nicely. And that kind of brown cardboard in the background is just a lot softer than a white canvas or a white page. The other thing I really like is when you get bits like this, like there's a little bit of muck on the cardboard there. There's a bit of tape there. There's a bit of a print there. There's a little hole there. I love that kind of stuff. It kind of it just looks. It gives it a little bit more character just before you even start drawing on there. That blank page. Blank first page, people worrying about getting onto a blank first page. You haven't got to worry about that because you're on this bit of cardboard that, to be honest, cost you nothing, looks tatty anyway, and you're only going to make it look better. So yeah, it's just a nice way of kind of starting off. You just go down to your local supermarket and they're practically giving it away. They pay people to come and collect it, so you may as well steal it from them. Well, not steal it. Ask if you can have it, and then you've got yourself loads of nice cardboard. So I think there might be a bunch of my students, my Korp Academy students, joining me today. Technically, this section is not going to be a step-by-step lesson, which is what I normally do. I'm just going to draw, and I'm going to talk through how the drawing kind of builds together. And if you want to follow along, you can follow along. If you do want to follow along, this is what you're going to need. Obviously, that bit of cardboard first. We're drawing a bird. I'm going to use all these reds. So I've got like a ruby red, and coral pink. They're really nice colours that all work really well together. If ever you want to buy yourself some Posca pens, you're not sure what colours to buy colours that work well together. Don't just try and buy every single colour going so that you've got one blue, one green, one yellow, one orange. Buy colours that work together. So like I've got the 2 reds there, a dark and a light red. They're the kind of colours that you should be going for. Talking of which, there we go. We've got ochre and yellow. I think this is straw yellow. Straw yellow is a little bit more opaque than a regular yellow, a little bit softer as well. But ochre and straw yellow. And again, dark and light colour go well together. And then I'll call these safety pens, which is my black pen and my white pen. I call them safety pens because it's like when everything's going wrong, if something's not looking right, put a black outline around it and a white power line around that black outline and everything will look fine. So these are like my safety nets. these pens. And you can also, with that black pen and with that white pen, you can also hide loads of stuff. So things that might go wrong in the picture, by the time you're putting that black outline on, you're hiding all those things that went wrong behind that black outline. So that's why I call them safety pens. Okay, enough talking. Let's get on with it, shall we? Do I want to use the ivory? It's just dawned on me that I shouldn't be using that one. I'll use it. I've got a fatter ivory. Yeah, that works. Right, are we ready to get going? Let's do it. I developed this character. Well, I didn't develop this character. This character belongs. It's a PFP or like the what's the word? The branding of somebody on X. Hopefully, I'll become clearer as we draw it. But I've done my version of their character, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're going to try and draw today. So first off, then grab your white. First thing we'll do is put in a couple of eyeballs. Now, with these eyeballs, we don't want to go too wide to the outside edge because its character is going to wear a big hat that's going to be flopping around the outside. So let's go for one around about here, and then let's go for one around about here. I've got from one big, one small. Mainly because it's a nightmare trying to get two eyes exactly the same size. So if you're going to go slightly different, you may as well go properly different, so it looks like you did it on purpose. So go and throw that in first. That's all we're going to use that white pen for. Then we're going to go and grab that red pen. And this is like I say, you don't need your pencils. You'd spend half an hour penciling this out before you even started putting any paint on. So that's why I love going straight in with marker pens. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go and put like a rectangle behind these eyes. I hope that makes sense. Right, this is how we'll do it. So I don't want to put the red line going all the way through the white. The white will eventually go over the red, but it's just going to make it hard work for us if we do that. But I do want like a rectangle, a weird shaped rectangle going over. So look, watch this. Look, there to there. Maybe over on this side. Let's go about there to there. And then we'll join that up. And join that up. There's my rectangle. Can you see it? Can you even see that? I'm going to zoom in a little bit now. You see where it is all on the bottom half of the cardboard? Fairly small, about the size of my fist. I don't know if that helps as a reference because you haven't got my fist to compare to. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Not much, is it? Stick with your red pen. Let's go and put in some extra lines. Next line we're going to do is we'll start on the top of the head and work our way down. We're going to put some angry eyebrows in. So for that, we're going to start on the outside of the eyeball. We're going to swoosh around, cross the top of the eyeball, and then just as you get outside the eyeball here, just drop the line down. So watch this, look. Swoosh around across the eyeball. Just as you get outside, a little drop down. Do the same kind of thing on the other side, okay? So swoosh, cross, drop down. That's giving us some angry eyebrows. Underneath the eyes, we're just going to put some little curves. Little curves just from one side to the next, like that and like that. And these are mainly just to take a little bit out of the eye, so you haven't just got two great big white eyes staring at you. You've got that like little flappy bits of skin overlapping there. Once you've done those two curves, we're going to get in there and just above, starting on the eyeball line, just above there, we're going to curve that back and we're just going to get back into the rectangle like that. Same on this side, curve back into the rectangle. Doesn't matter if your line goes way too far into the rectangle. We're going to colour all that in later anyway. But yeah, the important thing is the first curve and the second curve, they don't touch each other. They're close, but they don't quite touch each other. Okay, so let's go back to the top. We're going to start in the middle here this time. We're going to move across. Now, before we get to the corner, we're just going to lift the pen up, as in upwards, that way. We're going to lift the pen up. We're going to go around past this little hook and hit the eyeball. Okay, so look, from there, go up, round, past this little hook, hit the eyeball. Same kind of thing on the other side. And this looks like it might be. I think on the X feed it looks pretty straightforward. You can see this, can't you? Same kind of thing on the other side. So just move across, just jump off that down here, just underneath the eyeball. not just underneath the eyeball, just underneath that little flick, and then hitting the eyeball. That's going to give that kind of like big monobrow shape. What are we doing next? Let's go and put in the chin. The chin, a little W either side, where the W is going to be like a big V and a small V. Okay, nice and easy, like just there, look, big V, small V. Same on the other side, big V, small V. There's our chin. That line across there, we'll keep that line in there. That's quite a nice line for a chin. We are going to throw a little body in there though. So 2 lines. We're going to do 2 lines for the body, which is going to come out. Then we're going to do 2 curves for the wings. And then we're going to do a great big belly on the middle part of it. Okay. So 2 lines for the body. Here are those 2 lines. One goes out about there. One goes out about there. This one at the back, because I want the character to look like it's kind of turning a little bit and kind of looking that way a little bit. We want this line to be a little bit straighter. It's going down a little bit more urgently than this line. This line is kind of seeing the back. This line is more of the chest. I think that works. So we've got the body in. Let's put the 2 wings in. So starting from this corner where the chin joins the body, start from there again. Just put a little curve in. Same on the other side. Little curve. Drop it in. We'll add some little fluffy bits to that later, but that's good for now. Finish this bottom bit with the belly. Now again, character's looking that way, so I want the belly over that way. See how we've got a big old gap this side, tiny little gap that side. I've no idea if anybody's drawing. If anybody is drawing along with me, and if you're able to, I don't know if you're able to post any photos in the chat. If you can, that'd be great. Post photos in the chat. I'm not sure if it will show up on the chat window down below, but you never know. I would like to see what everybody's up to if you are joining along. If I'm not going too fast, I know I'm going very fast for this one. Okay, let's go and put in. Let's put in the hat of this character. Now, this hat, when I was drawing this bird, I've drawn this bird a few times in a few different colours, so it was pretty straightforward. But I've never drawn this hat on this bird. And this hat was a bit of a nightmare, so let's see if we can do it, shall we? We're going to do a big curve from this side of the head, a big curve in using 5 lines. Do you know what I mean? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, we'll do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and then we'll go back using 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. But we'll finish off on this side. Okay, so that's the first bit. So 4 lines to go out, 3 lines to come back. No sharp corners. That's the other important bit. Let me, you can see all of this. Yeah, I've got a little torn bit there, so it might go over that torn bit, which isn't the end of the world. That'll be fine. Here we go. Look, from this side, look, 4 lines going across that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it's a curve, but it's been done in 4 lines. Yeah. Nice and easy. And then we're going to start from that point. We're going to go back. We're going to finish off on this side, but we're going to do it in 3 lines. Okay. So we go like 1, 2, 3. That'll do. That'll do. Let's do exactly that. Same thing again. This time we're going to go over on to this side somewhere. And maybe go a little bit bigger, a little bit wonkier. I don't know. But starting over on this side, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going back with 3. 1, 2, 3. You might have guessed this is, we're trying to draw like a jester's hat here. A jester's hat is going to have like three peaks. 3 peaks. So we've done 2 peaks. The last peak is the most difficult one. Are you ready for this last peak? So we're just going to go from there to there. We're just round the back. We're not going to see that. Just in case you didn't spot my sarcasm there, that was me being sarcastic. Anybody that's like drawing along with me usually starts paying attention when I say things are going to get difficult. And then I just end up drawing the simplest of lines. Okay, one more bit and then we're going to throw some colour on this. Yeah, we're doing all right for time as well. one more bit, and that is like the trim around the top of the head. So we're going to start just outside. You know, we've got these two peaks. I don't know what they're called. Like the pointy bits on a jester's hat. They're definitely going to have a name. I don't know what it is. But we're going to join. We're just going to start just outside those two peaks on either side, and we're going to do a little line out, and then we'll do a zigzag that's joining them all together. So watch this. Look, just there. Look, little line out, and remember, your lines don't have to be straight. They can be wonky. So a little line out there as well. Look, nice and wonky. And then we're going to join those two bits together with a zigzag. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you'll notice with that, the outside parts are really thin. Middle parts, I've gone a bit thicker with those. Okay, hope that made sense. Oh man, we've got to put a beak in. I figured out this way of drawing a beak today that is really nice and really easy and looks really cool. So yeah, join in with me on this beak. Let's go and put a sausage shape in first. So with the yellows, I'm going to put in with the lighter yellow. I'm going to use the lighter yellow to put my guidelines in. I should also point out as well that, you know, when it comes to drawing with Posca pens, there's 4 stages. Stage 1, which we're on now, is guidelines. We're just throwing in those guidelines. Stage 2 is colouring in. We'll come to that in a minute. We're going to do some colouring in. Stage 1 and 2 are all about making a mess. Don't get too precious about, you know, whether the artwork looks any good or not. It's not meant to look good yet. It's meant to look a bit messy and a little bit rubbish. So yeah, stage 1 and 2, all about making a mess, all about just getting stuff on the card or on the paper and then seeing where you go from there. Stage 3 and 4, we'll come to those in a little while. They're all about tidying up. So that's when you start making your artwork, or you're trying to make your artwork look a little bit better. Anybody that's watching, thank you very much. We've got 76 views. I was a little bit worried that when we first started the feed, we had 1 person in for ages, and I was a little bit worried that nobody was going to come on because I'm broadcasting in a slightly different way than I usually do. So yeah, 76 viewers. Thank you very much for joining in. Do me a favour and share this out. Let people know what we're doing, and if you can, tag Abstract Chain or you know, some of the abstract people and ask them when I'm going to get accepted as a streamer. That'd be really, really helpful because that's what we're after at Korp Dogs. Right, let's go and put in. That's my request for you. Let's get back to drawing. I'm going to put in this beak. We're going to put in one of my favourite shapes called the grumpy sausage. Right down here, in between the eyes. There it is, the grumpy sausage. But what we're going to do with that, excuse me. What we're going to do with that is we're then going to make that grumpy sausage have like a beak on it as well. So you ready for this then? So the beak will look like this. We're going to do a line across the top. It's going to curve across the top and go back. And then we're going to do a line across the bottom. So look, watch this. Look. So from about here, from about a third of the way across the beak, let's go across there to there. See how it jumps off one side, third of the way across, jumps off one side, goes all the way through the grumpy sausage, about a third of the way again through that sausage. Hope that makes sense. Let's bring that little line up with a little V, and then put on the bottom part of the beak. So where that just finished, look, just put on a little curve there for the bottom part of the beak. So it's almost like there's a little circle there. Probably, if I'd have had more time, I'd have probably planned that out to be a bit more of a circle and a lot easier to draw. It looks a bit untidy at the moment. Generally, I probably wouldn't use this in a drawing tutorial just because it does look a little bit untidy. I like my drawings to be a little bit simpler than this. They are all your guidelines. Just a couple more lines over here. Look, little diamond over there. Little diamond. Now that's it. That's all your guidelines. So I'm going to hang on here for a few seconds. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. Whether it's questions about Korp Dogs, whether it's questions about drawing with Posca pens, digital drawing, broadcasting, streaming, anything, I'm here. to answer your questions. Don't worry about interrupting. I like to pause every now and then just so that anybody who's joining along can catch up a little bit. Really keen that everybody who's watching does have a little try at this as well. I know it's not always easy because you might not always have the right Posca pens, but you should always have a try. Never let not having the right colours stop you from drawing. If you're drawing this and it's all greens and purples, that's cool. You go for it. Okay, let's go and put some colour on this, shall we? So we're going to start. The way I like to colour in is I like to put on all the shadows first, all the darker colours. I get a bit of kickback on this from some people who are like, you should have put all the lighter colours on first and put the darker colours over the top. But the beautiful thing about Posca pens is that you can put the lighter colours over the top of darker colours. And for me, it makes the shadows look better. If you can put some like little thin lines in the shadows, because of the way we're going to cut in with the shadows, just makes them look better. So that's why I'm going this way around. Okay. So right, let's get back in to let's do the reds. It's mainly going to be the reds and the yellows, yellow and the big yellow and the I don't know what these bits are called. These little jewels hanging from there. Those bits, the red and the yellow. That's the only good place we're going to have shadows. So if you remember that I started off with those three colours, I'm probably not going to use too much of this coral pink. We've just done all the guidelines in this red. I'm going to grab now the ruby red, which is a beautiful colour. I'm going to grab that ruby red. I'm just going to throw in where I think all the shadows are going to live. Okay. So work with me here, and let's go and do it. So let's start at the top, work our way down. So over on this side, you see we've got this big thing sticking out here. I reckon the bottom half of that is going to be in a shadow. Now, one thing to remember is that as you get across here, you want to stop your shadow line when you hit this like zigzaggy bit, because that zigzaggy bit is going to be in front. Okay, so what I mean by that is like just come up there, go across, stop when you hit that zigzag, because that is where that part of the object stops. There you go around that. Let's colour that in. The other thing as well is don't get too precious about getting it just right. We are in stage 2. We're chucking on colour. We're still in that kind of let's make a mess stage. If things don't look right, don't just stop and chuck it away and start again. Do something that will fix it later. And also, just never judge your artwork at this stage. It's supposed to look a bit crap at this stage. Hooded Phantom, hello mate. I think I got a message from you today, didn't I? And yeah, I'm totally up for that. I'm really excited about how we're gonna do that. How we're gonna, do we do like pixel and IRL stuff, or I don't know. But either way, thank you for joining in, mate. I hope you're doing well. Right, let's go and carry on with this. We're going to do this shadow on the other side, and remember, it's going to be the bottom half of this big object. Stop when you get to that zigzag. So we're going to start in the middle there. Let's go across. I think a shadow will live about there. Stop when you get to that zigzag. Go around that zigzag, and then go around the bottom of that. We need a name for it, whatever that thing is, whatever the peak, the pointy bits of a jester's hat are. I don't even know if they are if it is a jester's hat. Somebody might tell me that it's not. So that's that bottom half done. Then we're going to go and do this bit at the back. There's only going to be a little bit of a line. I reckon it will go about there. A little bit of a shadow. Just throw these shadows in roughly where you think is right. It doesn't matter if you don't get them spot on. It's more important. I think it's more important to have a shadow than to have all your shadows in the right place. So do you know what I mean? It's like, just as long as there's some shadows in, whoever's looking at your artwork, their eyes will just, or the brain will just do all the work and put all the shapes in the right place. Yeah, that way. let's go and finish off this bit. So now we've got this bit. You know, remember that zigzaggy bit? We're just going to put some shadow lines in there. So this is a bit of a tricky one. So in here, right, from the tip there to there, let's do a little shadow in there. You might notice as well, I have left the thinnest of lines there, just so that I know where that zigzag line that's going across, so I know where it is. But thanks, Trey. Lepets Now I don't know where is it. Is it Lapets or Lappets? I'm going to go for Lappets. I like Lappets. So yeah, we've finished the Lappets. Let's now move on to this other bit that I don't know the name of, which is like the trim around the top of the hat. And we're going to put some shadows in. So it's all going to be hidden away over here. So we're going to put some shadows in just there and just there. I have gone, just so you know, I have gone a bit too far into the head there, but that's okay. We can fix that. I might actually use this in one of my tutorials, drawing jester's hats. So every week when I do tutorials, I have like a different theme. And so this month's been weirdery, so we've all just been drawing weird stuff all month. But just before Christmas, one of the themes for the week was bananas. And so we just drew bananas all week. And there's a little bit of me that likes the idea of drawing just jester hats all week and seeing how many different types of jester hats we can draw. You know, making a jester hat look like an upside down octopus or something like that. There's loads we can do with that. So now I know they're called lappets, I might actually use that. Right, let's carry on working down with this shadow. So next shadow is a little tiny one. You see where we've got this eye? Just go over that line, just thicken it around there. Put a little shadow in there. Over on the other side, because my light source is kind of coming in from this direction, I'm going to do quite a big shadow over on this side, okay? So the shadow of this side, I'm going to put from about here, look. It's going to go into that eye and around there. And then just chuck on loads of colour here. And what you'll notice as well is when you start doing this, all those original guidelines that you put in with your pen, they're all starting to disappear now. That's why I don't mind doing my guidelines with a pen, because they will just all eventually just disappear under all the paint marks anyway. Even if you do loads of little paint marks with your marker pen, they can all disappear. Okay, let's go underneath. So I think again all of this side's going to have a shadow in, so I'm going to do a little curve from there. Let's do from there to there. All of this bit, outline it. The reason I outline what I'm going to colour in, because that's the time I'm thinking, because I'm trying to get the lines in just the right place, so I know where the shadow's going to be. So brain is fully engaged when I'm doing that bit. Then I disengage my brain, I'll just colour in. All I've got to remember is to try and stay roughly in between the lines, so I haven't got to think about it. And I kind of like a bit of artwork where you don't have to think too much. That's why the branding is Doodle with Korp, because doodling is the ability to draw without thinking, and that's exactly what I want to teach people to do. There we go. One more little shadow and a red belly, and then we'll get on with the rest of the colouring in. Just down here on the body now, let's just do a shadow from about there. So we're going to have a shadow just there because we want the body to look like it's further back than the head. So there's going to be a little shadow under there, and then coming all the way down there. Now, as we look, watch this. Look, as we go around that, we want to add a few little fluffy bits. So what I mean by that is just stick out a little V, a couple of little V's. Look, gives us, you know, something a little bit more interesting to outline when we come to our outlining bit. That belly, I'm going to put the belly in red. When you're colouring in with Posca pens, just remember not to press too hard. In fact, the gentler you press with a Posca pen, the more likely you are going to have a thick coat of paint. because you're just laying that paint on. So it's not like with a normal marker pen, you press hard and your ink comes out and it looks a bit darker. Complete opposite with Posca pens. You just got to press nice and gently. If you press hard with a Posca pen, there's two things that can go wrong. One thing that can go wrong is if you press like a normal hard, then you're just going to get like streakiness coming where you can still see the paper coming through because you're just rubbing through the nice thin coat of paint. Second thing, if you press way too hard, then it's just going to the pen is just going to puke up on your artwork, and that's the last thing you want. Is because you have to prime these pens by pressing the nib into the barrel to collect more paint. If they're warm, or if your artwork's looking really good, the pens will just kind of take it out on you, and they will just kind of chuck a load of paint on there. Right, we've been stuck on 85 viewers for a while now. Can we do something about that? Can we? If you can share, that would be great. There should be. I don't know if you're watching on a desktop or a PC or something like that. Bottom right, you should have a share button. If you can share it, that would be great. I should probably do the same myself. And then the other thing is, please put the notifications bell on if you're interested in the lives that we're doing. Whack the notifications bell on. You can just do it just for the live, so you won't get pestered with every single tweet we put out. Sorry, every single post we put out. But there I am. Is that me? Yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, so obviously if you're on a mobile app, you just press the repost button. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and just like I say, just tap the notifications bell. Just go down to the bit that says only live video, and then every time I come on a live video, you'll be there. Just keep a sketchbook handy, sketchbook and a pen, and you're normally good to go with whatever we're drawing. Right, let's go and put some more shadows in. So the next lot of shadows, we're going to get into the yellows. We've got ochre and we've got straw yellow. Straw yellow is a lighter colour, so we'll do that last. We're going to go in with a darker colour. Let's do these two bits over on the outside first because they're nice and easy. And with that ochre, look, you see how it's already a lot darker than the straw yellow. We're just going to put one half of these Lapette jewels, one half with the darker colour, and we'll come back and do the other half with the lighter colour in a little while. Down the bottom here, let's go and do the beak. Now watch this for the beak, because on this side we're just going to colour half the sausage in, bottom half of the sausage in, like that. In fact, let's do all of it. Bottom half of the sausage all the way across, look. Anything underneath that shadow, you're going to colour that in as well. Here's the weird bit. On that front part, just there, that little curve that goes up and down just there, just put a little line in. Smallest, real subtle little line that will look great later. And again, a lot of what you're doing with Posca pens is you're doing things now that are going to look good later as well. That will come into effect when we're going to do some cutting in right at the end of the session, which we're about 20 minutes away, I think, from finishing. Right at the end of the session, we'll can you believe that's 20 minutes away? Yeah, right at the end of the session, we'll do some cutting in, which is always my favourite part of any kind of drawing. So I'll show you what I mean by having to go in big, knowing that you're going to make it look better later. Where are we at? Let's put in the white eyes. Go and grab that white pen and go in. So the only bits of the white eyes is the middle part, yeah? The top part is eyebrow, the bottom part is eyelid. They're all going to be different colours, so just go and put in this bit. Again, you can see like my technique of just outline it a bit, then colour it in. Press nice and gently, try and get yourself a nice thick coat. Sometimes, I mean, that doesn't look too bad on there, but sometimes you will need to give your artwork a second coat. No getting around it. So yeah, when you're using Poscas, if you need to give it a second coat, just wait for it to dry, go back to it and give it a second coat when it's dry. Normal marker pens, you'll just keep on going over the same area until it's the right darkness that you want. Can't do that with Posca pens. With Posca pens, you have to wait for it to dry. Otherwise, you're just going to flood it. The paper's going to get warped. You're going to get pilling, all sorts of nonsense. So, yeah, don't do that. Okay, that's good. Let's go and grab the red now. So we've done that ruby red. We're going to go and grab the red now. We're going to pretty much colour in everything else in this ruby red, apart from the beak and the 2 lapet jewels. Okay, so yeah, let's go and colour in everything else. So we've got these 3 lapets. Let's do that one at the top first. Let's go and do this one. Now I've got that coral pink, so just because I might use that coral pink a little bit later, it's a nice contrast to the red and ruby red. It's like a creamy colour, but I might not use it as well. We'll see. Now I am just colouring in one section at a time. We are going to colour in all of it, but I'm just colouring in one section at a time, just because I think that's how my head likes to work. I can't just do the whole thing in one go. So I've done that bit, left that zigzag bit, that bit trimmed down the bottom. Let's go and do this bit over on this side now. Again, leave a little bit of the card showing through if you're not sure where your black lines need to go later. I kind of like getting rid of any guidelines, because then I can choose where I put the black lines later. So if they're not quite, if I didn't have them in quite the right place when I did the guidelines, I'll just make sure I get them in the right place when I do the outlining right at the end of the session. There you go. Right, let's go and get into the trim now. We're just going to go across the trim. The other thing that's great about Posca pens is if you change your mind at any stage and you think, right, I wish I'd done something different, you can actually just sort of switch it up on the fly. So if you finish your drawing, then you're like, I wish I'd have put in an extra bit of trim. So like on the top of this trim, I'm looking at it thinking, I wish I'd put in a bit of gold trim across the top, just to separate the top and the bottom out a little bit more. That's the kind of stuff you could do a little bit later. Okay, let's get down into the head now. We're going to colour in the head. Been completely unproductive since this started. This is so easy to watch. I'm sorry, mate. It is kind of satisfying though. I think from a viewing it point of view and a doing it point of view, it is a very satisfying process. Especially when, if you've watched enough of my videos and you kind of like, you know what's going to happen. You know that, you know, after I've done all the colouring in, the black lines are going to go on, and you know that that's when the artwork starts to really take shape. And then when the black lines are gone on, that's when I go in with like all the extra colours and all the extra little details, finishing touches, and that's when things that's when things really start to take on a life of their own. You've got all that kind of stuff to look forward to. I do sometimes worry with a live stream, because it takes, because this is going to be like a 1 hour drawing maybe. Yeah, it's going to be a 1 hour drawing. That some people will just kind of turn up now, halfway through, and think, that looks pretty dodgy. I'll watch something else. I hope not. I hope people trust the process. I suppose if they don't, they're not my audience. That's fine. Here we go. Look around the top of the beak. Just get as close in as you can. Just have a bit of confidence that as you're going around this with as two colours are touching each other, there's normally going to be a black outline going over the top. So it doesn't matter too much if it's not the neatest work in the world. And if anybody knows, if anybody wants to guess whose PFP this is, or whose branding this is, Put something in the comments. There's no prizes. But yeah, I'm interested to see if anybody actually knows. This is a million miles away from what the actual style of the person's artwork looks like. I kind of wanted to give it like my look, their colours, their character, but with my look. Couple of little smudges in there, look. See, look for you little white smudges in there. Let's go and make those disappear. So I'm just going to quickly grab that ruby and go over that. That's what I mean, look, you know. It's just nice and easy. Oh, the other thing I forgot to do as well, get back on with the red. Remember I put these little flicked off fluffy bits around the arms, wings. Let's go and do the same kind of thing over this side. So just coming out there. Just coming out there. Just little tiny flicked out bits. Okay, let's wrap this up with the yellow. Last bit of colouring anyway. This is getting to that halfway stage. Ochre and straw yellow. We've already used the ochre for the shadows. Let's go and use the straw yellow, and pretty much anything on this character that is not coloured in, we're going to colour in. Let's do these jewels first. And then get into that beak. Now, do you remember I said about having that one little line poking up? I can't zoom any further. This is why we're going to have it like that. So over on this side, let's just colour in that bit. And then here, look, we're just going to, that fat 5M line, the 5M's the size of the pen, that fat line at the top, we're going to taper that out. And then just bring that across. So what we've got is a shadow, a really, really thin shadow going around the top of that beak. Like that. I don't know if you can see that on there. Yeah, you should just be able to see it. But yeah, just a real nice thin shadow just curling around going up the top of that beak. That's exactly what we wanted in there. And that's what I like doing. You know, thin lines with fat pens. Posca do about 5, 6, maybe 7 different size nibs. But I always say go for the 5Ms. You want 5Ms, as many colours as you can afford in 5M. And then the black pen is a 3M, a little bit thinner for the outlines. That's always my top tip. Okay. Right, let's go and throw in some black lines. As soon as we throw in some black lines, this is all going to start making a little bit more sense. Now, if I was doing my own artwork, I would... this is my own artwork, you know what I mean? If I was doing something outside of a tutorial, then I'd normally give this like 24 hours to dry. It's dry to the touch. Posca dries quite quick. It's dry to the touch, but technically it's still kind of soft. It's not like fully hardened and suitable for drawing over yet. So it's really important at this stage just to go really gentle with your line work. Right, let's get those all over there. A 3M pen. I'm using a 3M, which is about the right thickness, because you can go a bit thicker because we're going to double line everything like we did with Skullbot. One thing to remember about 3M is the flow of a 3M pen is a little bit slower than you really want it to be. So you will need a bit of cardboard handy just for you to go and prime your pen, keep your nib constantly wet. You want a constantly wet nib when you're drawing with Posca pens. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to start with the hat, and then we'll move down into the face for today's character. Okay. So the first thing is that line going across the top of the head, because the hat just kind of sits behind the head. So you see how the top of the head comes up here, and it comes up there. We're just going to go from this side, join that up to that side. Now, another top tip: if you're drawing, try not to draw left to right. So try not to draw your line from there and go across that way, because what's happening there is I can't see where my pen line needs to be because my hand's in the way. You want to try drawing from the other way around. It's a little bit more difficult for most people because some people write left to right, some people write right to left. If you're one of those people that is naturally kind of trained in kind of writing from left to right, this will be difficult, but it's worth practicing because it will be really handy. So there we go. Look, there's our first line, just a little line to separate the top of the head and the hat. Nice and wonky, don't worry too much about it being a perfect line yet. We can tidy this all up. Now you remember those 2 lines that came out, that zigzag that went all the way across? Let's go and put that in. So the 2 lines that came out went to about there. One there, one there. There's our 2 lines that came out. Then we've got to do that zigzag all the way across. Now this is where, on some of these, look, I've left little lines so I know where the zigzag needs to go. On other bits in here, I've got no idea. I just got to make it up as I go along, which is absolutely fine. I kind of like that. We're going to round off each end. Pointy in the middle there. Round off the end. Pointy. Round. Sharp point at the bottom. There we go. Join it all together. That looks nice. We've got loads of stuff hanging out here that has got no right to be hanging out there. So we're going to double line all of this. We're going to get rid of a lot of that. Again, that's one of the reasons why I really like double lining, is you can just hide loads of like little accidents, or not even little accidents, but you know, you've got a bit of leeway with your colouring in because you know your black lines are going to sort that one out for you. We will come back to all of this. We'll add some little thinner lines in as we go along, but that's good. That looks all right, that. Okay, let's go and put in this next line. So we're going to go from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember how we did that? Let's do it again. Nice wonky line. 3 lines going back. I'd say 3 lines going back, but actually the third line is kind of hidden behind this bit of trim, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll just do the 1, 2 lines going back. Eesh. Right, similar thing on the other side, so let's go and do this top bit. 1 line just to get your eye in. Second line, make it wonky, but also cover over any mistakes. So like with that first line, look, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little bit of red hanging out on the wrong side of that black line. So what I'll do is, with my second line, I'll go over that. Make that bit disappear. So that's why, there's a bit more there. That is one of my, that's like the main reason for double lining what you're doing. Okay, let's get around this top bit. Strong intersections as well. You know where 2 lines join each other? That's an intersection. Where they join each other like that, that's an intersection. Those bits of your line want to be a little bit thicker. It's where the shadows live, so we always go a little bit thicker with those. Okay, we're getting there. Let's go down and start working on the eye. So you remember those swoosh shapes that we did across the eye? A big old kind of round curve across the eye and then a little drop down. Let's go and put those in just underneath this shadow. Look, all the way across, little flick down just there. Again, we're going to double line this. Ideally, this line just there, you want to flick that off. A flick off line is where you just kind of flick the pen in order to get a nice thin end to it. If you're struggling with a flick off line, do some dots and dashes. They always look pretty cool. Like that. That's a nice way of kind of creating like a bit of a crease without putting like a full on line in there. Likewise, you can also use the red that's underneath just to sort of taper that line out. So when the black line's dry, just get the red again and just chop out, just cut out little bits of that black line. So there's a few different ways of doing that. Let's go and do the other side. Look, so we're going to go around here, swoosh across, little flick down, double line it, nice and wonky. Dots and dashes, look, to give it that little creased effect. That's nice. Down the bottom, remember then we took those little kind of curves at the bottom of the eyes. So let's go and put those in. Double-ended flick off this one. So ideally, you're flicking off both sides of this pen, of this line. A real artist will have a proper name for that line, but I kind of like double-ended flick off. It will make sense. Once you've got your double-ended flick offs in, then we can go around the rest of the eyeball. Now look at how messy the eyeballs are. You know, we've got all these kind of like chunky bits out here. We've got this bit of red coming into the eyeball. It all looks a bit messy. It's nice, quite nice there. That looks quite nice, but the rest of it looks a bit messy. So this is where your black outlines will save you. So you just kind of put these black outlines in. And all of a sudden, those dodgy bits, they just kind of fall behind. They're hidden. They're still there. They're just hiding now behind those black lines. Anytime you see an artist drawing with a fat black line, you now know why. Okay, eyes done. Let's go back to the top of the head. We're just going to bring those two lines that we did right at the start. Let's just bring those round to the eyeballs. We'll do the jewels in next. So just those bits. Look, double line it, nice and wonky, and then let's outline these jewels. We're going to flick off a load of lines where all these shadows are a little bit later. Oh yeah, and I should probably point out as well, you remember I was talking about the 4 stages of Posca drawing? Stage 1 being guidelines, stage 2 being colouring in, that's all done. Stage 3 being outlines, that's what we're on now, on stage 3. Stage 3 of outlines, you can kind of split into 2 areas. The one part is the important outlines, the primary lines. That's what we're doing now, just the important lines. The second part is then going over those important lines with like some secondary lines, some other little bits that are kind of still outlining. Not quite as important, but are going to make your artwork look pretty cool. So I'll show you those in a little while, okay? But that's why for the time being we're just kind of just working our way through it and keeping it nice and simple. Right, let's go around here, around the cheeks, around that V shape. That W shape down the bottom here. Across the chin. Again, across the chin, kind of hides loads of nonsense that's gone on in there that we don't need. Get into the belly. With the belly, remember we did that one line that was kind of going straight down. The other line going to the back a little bit. Let's go and do that. There's our one going straight down. There's our other one going towards the back. Outline the wings. Look at that. Just go across, little flick in. Go across, little flick in. Same kind of thing on this side. Picking up the pace a little bit here because we're nearly at the end. Let's go and put in the inner mouth on our character. Okay, let's do this. Are you ready for this then? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start over on here. So on the inside we're going to do a little U shape on its side, just there. It's on the inside, yeah? Then what we're going to do is we're going to travel along that line and then put in towards the tip of the beak. So travel along there. Get to the tip of the beak. Then we're going to go round the top. As we get to this side, we're just going to do a little tiny flick into the sausage. all the time, double lining as you go along, okay? Once you've got that top bit done, let's go and do the bottom bit. And same thing down here, just a little tiny flick into the sausage. Don't forget, if you're struggling to flick, just dots and dashes will do. And then this right hand side, let's go round the outside of that sausage. And this side, around the outside of that sausage. You see how we've got this line here? It's like a little umbrella line, little curve with that line coming out. Let's do the same on this side. Oops. I think I just accidentally changed the shape of my feed there. Cool, this is looking good. Right, let's go and put in some feature lines. So we've done our like primary lines. Let's go and just do some secondary lines. So we're just going to flick the pen around a little bit here in some random places. So places like this, anytime where there's a little shadow, let's go and put that kind of stuff in. Look, that looks nice. Just reinforcing that little break in there. Same with these spiky bits down here. Let's go and put in some little lines in there as well. And where we've got these little folds, you know, we kind of, when we draw a curve, and I said about drawing the curve in 3 different lines, the reason we draw it in 3 different lines is because it gives us those little bends in there which we can work with. So watch this, look, we can just flick a little pen there, you go across, flick a little line there as well, and see how it just gives that much more kind of shape around there. Let's do the same over here, just a little flick in there, and you can kind of do the same here as well. Let's put a little tiny flick, little tiny flick. It's starting to come together quite nicely. Let's move down. Let's go and put some more little flick lines in around the eyes, especially. Look, let's go and put in little lines there, maybe around the outside of the mouth. Look, just flicking off wherever you think you need it. That looks all right. Maybe a little flick around the edge of the belly. Let's kind of bring that belly back to the front a little bit with just a small line. That's looking good. I'm going to say that's good for like outlining. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the eyes, because we're going to have a little swirl around the eyes, and then we can start adding some more fun bits to the character, some spots. These fun bits we're going to add to the character, they're all going to be tapered out, so they're going to look rubbish at start, but we know they're going to look okay, at best okay, towards the end. Right, let's go and put the swirls in the eyes. So let's go for nice wonky line. It's gone over the black line a bit, but I don't care about that. Let's go and do the same kind of thing on this side. Nice wonky swirly line. Yeah, that looks good. Stick with your red pens. What we're going to do is we're going to use those red pens. So I'm going to use the ruby red, which we've got here. I'm going to use that on the red, and I'm going to use the red on the ruby red. This is where we're going to taper stuff out. So look, watch this. What we can do is just flick a little line out there. Maybe put a little line there. Don't think about it too much. Just go and put these bits in. So we're just putting some regular lines in there. We're going to taper those out. They're going to look much, much nicer later. Then let's move down into the actual bird. We're just going to put some spots in. So just go and find some boring bits of this character and put some of these extra little spots in. Something like that will do nicely. And then, like I say, just go and grab that that other red, and we'll do the same with the other red. We'll just flip it around a little bit. So up in the hat, let's just put some little red lines in there. Down the bottom here, let's put some little spots. You see the way we're just kind of building up those layers. This bit looks a little bit boring. Let's just quickly go and put something in there. Yeah, they look dodgy, those lines, but they'll look fine when we're finished. We'll come back to all of that in a little while. What we're going to do now is let's taper out some of those black lines. So you might want to just sharpen off some of these lines. So anywhere there's a fat corner bit, use this pen to just sharpen them off, like the beak there. Where else? These bits here, look, these feathers that are coming in. Let's just sharpen those off. It's just this little tiny bits of finesse that we're adding in now, because we've gone past that outlining stage and we're in the stage 4 finishing touches stage. Let's get into the beak. Let's go and do a few little bits in the beak as well. Just stuff like that. I'm going to put those black lines that when I did the red swirls around the eyes, I went over the black lines a little bit. So I'm going to bring those black lines back to the front. This is the main thing when it comes to Posca pens. It's knowing that sometimes you need to make a little bit of a mess in order to make something look really cool. So here we go. Like just taking those black lines, bring them back to the front. Right in the middle, let's go and put that pupil in. Get it in now so that we've got time to put a reflection in there. I always like putting a few little black spots around the eyes. How does that look? Yeah, that's all right. Once things start to dry, that's when you can go back in and start tapering out some of these lines. This is the bit that's really cool. So you remember these little lines that we put in there? It's just taking the base colour and just running your pen over it. Just give it a real sharp, look at that, real sharp line. Every single line. It's going to look a bit obvious because it's wet. As soon as it's dry, these lines will look amazing. So there you go, just taper out one end, taper out the other end. See how big that line is? By the time we've tapered it out, we've tapered out almost half the line. Now it just looks like a little tiny crease in there. So it's always worth, when you're doing this bit, it's always worth just going in big and knowing that you can taper out later. That's good. Let's get the ruby red and do the same with the ruby red lines. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Okay, let's go and whack ourselves a power line on our character. I'm going to put a fat one on actually. Let's go for a fat power line. So 2 ways of doing a power line. One is you can either make your black line a little bit thicker. Second is you can go with this white line and just go all the way around the outside edge with this white line. So let's try it. What I'll do is I'll do half of it with a white line. You can see what it looks like, what difference it makes. Should also point out that normally if the only reason I'm holding my drawing in this upright position is so that when I do the reel for it, the reel looks okay because the cardboard isn't moving around all over the place. Generally, if you're drawing along with me, you don't want to do that. You just keep on moving your cardboard around so that you get all these. So when you're drawing these curves, you're using either your fingers to draw a curve, you're using your wrist to draw a curve, or you're using your elbow to draw a big curve. One day, practice every day for 40 years, and then like me, you'll be able to do curves whichever way around. Look at that. I just think it looks so much better with a power line. Now, one thing with the power line, the white power line, is that I will go back over the black and just tidy up that white power line a little bit. So where I've gone right into all the cracks in there, I'll just sharpen those lines off a little bit. And take your time on this bit. Pretty much anything inside your artwork, inside this power line, if you make a mistake, it's nice and easy to cover up. because you just got to colour over it again, wait for it to dry, colour over it again. Anything outside of this power line, you've got to get just right. So especially like the actual power line, got to get it just right. Because it's on the outside edge, and it's a lot more difficult to fix. So it's definitely the area that you want to be taking the most attention. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that, Trey. So I'm hoping that you know other people will see that actually I've sat here, I've been talking, I've not really worked at 100%. You know, it's been nice and chilled out. But you know, within an hour, you can kind of produce something really quite satisfying. That's always my intention. I just want people to realise that, you know, you don't have to get your oil paints out and wait 6 weeks for your painting to dry. You can start and finish stuff really quickly and really easily. But yeah, that's really cool, mate. I'm really pleased you've said that. If I can help out in any way, then let me know. I mean, obviously, just come into like Doodle on Discord, the events that we run, getting yourself some pens, all that kind of stuff will really help. Depends what kind of stuff you want to draw. If you want to draw stuff like this, I should probably point out, even though this is more of a Korp Dogs broadcast, and it's more about us trying to get to become streamers on Abstract. Obviously, I do run the Korp Academy. Korp Academy now has full membership of the Korp Academy. Now has 1,000 videos. 1,000 videos, all of them roughly an hour long, on how to draw stuff like this. It's all there. Okay, this is looking good. I'm going to just put a few little white spots on, and then we're going to wrap up. Awesome stuff, mate. Yeah. Just get on to Cult Pens, Amazon, wherever you buy your pens from. Go and grab some Posca markers. Even if you just start off with a Sharpie. My top tip, if you start off with Sharpie pens, is you want a fat pen and a thin pen. There's loads of stuff you can do with just those. How's that looking? That's not too bad. Yeah, fat pen and thin pen. If you're going to go and grab some Posca pens and just get as many colours as you can in 5M, and then that black 3M to just help you with all the outlines. Right, here we go, little white dots in the eyes to finish off. I don't know whether you can tell or not, but the intention was for this to be Korp and Coffee. Thank you, Colleen. The intention of this was to be like Parksy's bird. I think I've kind of got it looking like my version of a Parksy bird. Probably a little bit pale. It needs to be more red and black, but I'm pretty happy with that. That's come out nicely. Thanks very much for joining me into today's live. Really appreciate everybody that's tuned in.